Greetings and welcome to another Tomorrow's World Webcast. My name is Wallace Smith. It's great to have you here and terrible to have to read this particular news item. I subscribe to news I get from Foreign Policy. It's a magazine. And they send a morning brief out, and they sent me this morning brief on April 12th, and it just broke my heart. The title of this particular brief, it said, Boko Haram's use of child suicide bombers has soared. And before I read this, let me just say suicide is really not quite the right word to use, because suicide indicates that you are willingly doing this, and that's not the case. Let me just read a little bit. It says, children captured by the Islamist insurgent group Boko Haram are at increasing risk of being used as suicide bombers, according to a UN report released on Tuesday. In 2015, Boko Haram forced children to carry out 44 suicide attacks, an 11-fold increase over the previous year. Every 1 out of 5 bombings last year involved a child. They say the Cameroonian government, which has seen the highest incident of children bombers, said most of the attackers there have been girls ages 13 to 15. What do you say with news like this? I hope it breaks the heart of every single one of our viewers out there. I know that it breaks mine. The idea that these children that they have kidnapped, this terrible, terrible Islamist insurgent group, they've kidnapped these children and they're using these children as human walking bombs. You know, it puts everyone in a terrible position. How can you imagine being a soldier and you see a child walking up and you fear that perhaps the child might be a quote-unquote suicide bomber, again, because they're not actually committing suicide. They're being forced to do this. They're being murdered, and you have to stop this child somehow. It's a terrible environment every single way you look at it. It's truly not the way the world was ever supposed to be. But have no doubt that is the way the world is today. We are a world that preys on our youngest and on our weakest, and have no doubt that God in heaven feels this is abhorrent, is vomitous in His eyes. And for this group to claim any connection to any kind of God at all is ludicrous. The only God I can think that would find pleasure in this is the one who's the God of this world, Satan, the devil. Quite the contrary, James chapter 1 and verse 27, we're told, pure and undefiled religion before God and the Father is this, to visit orphans and widows in their trouble and to keep oneself unspotted from the world. You better believe God cares about these orphaned children to whom they are strapping bombs and forcing them to be living weapons for their particular political purposes. Jesus Christ looks forward to bringing a world where that will not be the case. We have a beautiful prophecy of the coming millennium under the reign of Jesus Christ and His glorified saints. It's in Zechariah chapter 8, verses 4 through 5. Let me read it, if anything, to cleanse the palate a bit. He says there, thus says the Lord of hosts, old men and old women shall again sit in the streets of Jerusalem, each one with his staff in his hand because of great age. The streets of the city shall be full of boys and girls playing in its streets. That is what children should be doing. Playing in the streets, not being used as weapons to kill others and themselves. Let us all pray that God brings the world of Zechariah 8 so much sooner. Thank you for watching. Please check out all of our other materials at tomorrowsworld.org.